Hello, everyone, and welcome into The Drive. Happy Wednesday, brought to you by Next Home Experience, the market leader. Get looked and get sold with Next Home Experience. Aaron Jackson, Mark Paulette in the Greenway Equipment Studios. Here's what we've got for our rundown today. We're going to talk some Patriots. The ESPN came out with quarterback rankings, and Drake Maye finished somewhere in there that we'll let you know if you haven't seen the article in the next segment.
It is Ranky Week. We made it through the first 2 days of getting beyond any sort of lists or anything.
What else can we rank?
Now we're scraping.
We're going to rank owl cameras in the studio.
You know what? The audio is not getting through, so I think it might be time to scrap the owl today.
Oh, that's too bad, buddy.
It really is.
At 4:40, we'll talk about Crazy Joe Mazzulla and try to go inside his mind, which sounds like a terrifying endeavor. I think I just went there, actually. I had to drop off a microwave at a recycling plant that shall not be named, and it was an experience of what
that sounds similar to just the random nature and things that are inside the mind of Joe.
A shocking amount of dead animals that I had to step over to put in the pile.
Oh, boy.
But it is what it is. And they were like, we're sorry, we probably can't pay you anything for it. And I was like, no, I just don't want it anymore. It's broken. I don't need anything. Apparently it's worth money. I don't know.
I've got, not to get off on too far of a tangent, but this is
the week to do it.
It's SB Day, right? This is the day with no sports.
Is today the SBs?
I believe so. I might just be saying it's either today or tomorrow night. I know Drake Maye is up for a couple of them. I assume it's today because today is also V Foundation Day, and normally those two go hand in hand right in the middle of the summer. It does say in your headlines that it's SB's Day or SB's night, so unless you're like... To be honest, I didn't fact check that one.
Just throwing things out there. Anyway, you were going to say...
Yeah, I don't remember what I was going to say at this point.
So I was talking about stepping over dead animals to throw my microwave in a pile of scrap metal.
Not, without giving away my home address, I have a prime piece of real estate in the sense that if anything breaks, if we have an appliance we don't want anymore, I walk outside, I put it at the end of our driveway. Within 90 minutes, it's gone and never to be seen again.
Same for us in Bangor, and there's been multiple times when my wife looks at me and says, no one's going to take that, Aaron. And I was like, just give it.
I say that to Miranda all the time because she tries to push the envelope.
Yeah.
Like, the more we put things out there. I'm curious now, what is that appliance or item that won't get taken?
I wonder, because the microwave, it didn't heat things up anymore. So it was essentially a very large, bulky digital clock at that point that you could still attempt to microwave. Like it would still act like it was doing something, but nothing.
You didn't want to bring it into the studio for us to have a clock for the rest of the year?
I should have. But anyway, I bet if I put it out there, because it sounded like if I had more stuff, like they weighed my car when I went in and they weighed my car when I went out. So if I had more things, they might have given me some money. So if I was someone, bored during the day or needing a little cash, I would have picked up, like how many microwaves can I pick up in a day to stack in the back of my vehicle to make it weigh enough for them to pay me? You know what I mean? And so but yes, I've been shocked at some of the things that I've put out by the side of the road thinking no one's going to take that. And it's gone within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, but the microwave, what I should have done is left it out by the side of the road. Instead, I took it to the place, but I frankly, I probably cost someone like $5.
I have been amazed by that in the 2 years. It's a little over 2 years now of living in this house.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 years and 5 days since we closed on it.
Wow.
I know. Time at this point is frightening as it continues to just warp speed ahead. But no, it's a fun little game anytime. Like I had a TV break a couple of weeks ago that was 9 years old. Like I'd been waiting for it forever and ever to just not turn on one day. Put it outside, and within 20 minutes, that thing was gone.
Yeah. Makes me wonder, why. But I guess if you're trying to, just maximize your amount of things in your vehicle to bring it to a scrapyard, it's all about the weight, it seemed like. You just, a
lot of scrappers out there, too, getting in it for wiring and whatnot.
I even considered, taking the microwave apart and trying to fix it, because sometimes, we have a Dyson vacuum that kept dying. And it's basically a Frankenstein at this point. There's so many different pieces and parts of what used to be versus what's new. And I've put it all back together and it works. It's great. But then I read that there's a thing inside the microwave that even when there's no power attached to it, it still holds a charge. And if you touch it, it can... So I said, all right, that's probably a step too far for me.
What other show on the ESPN family of networks is opening up today with 5 minutes of microwave and transfer station talk?
Yeah, scrap metal. That's the good stuff. We're Mainers. This is what Mainers do. This is what we talk about. Yeah. All right, so we'll have a sports center and weather forecast the second hour of the show, as well as a drive poll. And then you say rejoice, Mark. Is the death of daylight savings time coming? Now, I will admit, For years, I rant and rave, and I throw the statistics. I have facts to back up my reasonings, but I'm not actually sure if I want it. I know that I want it to not be changing.
But now that you see how it could be implemented?
Well, I've never been... I think what I want is the opposite of what they're doing.
Late winter mornings?
Yeah.
Dark winter mornings until like 8:30 around here, 9 a.m. other parts of the country?
Maybe not then. I don't know. I have to look into like which option I wanted, because I wanted no change. That's the first thing. And I wanted more sunlight earlier in the morning in the winters.
Yeah, so you would prefer to always be falling back. You would prefer that there's no spring forward, because that's when
correct
you lose the hour of sunlight in the morning. You always want to be falling back.
And you lose the hour of sleep. So yeah. I want to permanently be back, but I don't know the death of daylight savings time. Would that be permanently back, or is that permanently forward? I don't know the answer to that.
That's a question too big for my little brain.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I don't know if I feel good about this or if I feel bad about it, because I don't know if it's hitting the mark that I want, or if it's in typical political fashion in today's world. They're doing the opposite of what most people want.
From what I've seen, it would be pushing it back. Everywhere is getting lighter later.
So then I would be okay. Well, lighter later?
Yes.
No. So that's
darker
the opposite.
Mornings.
So that's the opposite of what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds about right for... Perfect. So then I will not be rejoicing. I'm gonna do a little research on this because I have been very adamant that I the biggest thing for me is getting rid of the change twice a year, but specifically the losing the hour of sleep change combined with the darkness in the morning change. That's the two
I'll send you. I've been screenshotting maps and videos all day long to be ready and know what I'm talking about when the time comes.
Because here's what happens is in the winter, I wake up, I go to work, it's dark out.
Yeah.
I leave work, I come here, it's dark out.
Yep.
I leave here, it's real dark out. I don't see the sun for multiple months of the year because there's no windows in my room at work. And so it is kind of devastating to the psyche to go months with like literally no sun, because I'm in work before it gets bright out and I leave work after it's dark out. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because there's a lot of people just like me dealing with similar situations.
In this state in the winter?
Right. And so I am advocating for avoiding that if all possible. And it sounds like the change that they have approved would do the opposite of that.
Let me pull up a map here as we're talking about it. So daylight saving time is, if daylight saving time is permanent.
So is that what they're doing? They're moving to make it permanent.
Yes, daylight savings time permanent.
Got it. Okay.
New January sunrise sunset times with permanent daylight saving time. On this map, the closest I can get to us is Boston. But in January in Boston, sunrise would be at 8:10 a.m.
Yeah.
Sunset, however, would be at 5:36. So you almost buy an extra 2 hours of sunlight in the afternoon, evening, but you're giving up basically the same amount of time, obviously, in the morning to push it to an 8:10 sunrise.
And sunlight in the morning is if you follow like science at all, or you follow like your body's natural circadian rhythm at all, they'll tell you sunlight in the early morning is the best thing possible for you. Sunlight late at night or before you go to bed is really bad for you as it relates to sleep cycles, which makes sense. You want to wake up in the morning with sun. When you go to bed, you want it to be dark. Your body wants that. It craves that. So this sounds like the worst possible solution.
You're going to be fighting for anti-daylight savings time by the time we're done with this thing.
I'm just going to take like the studio in here with the bright lights. I'm just going to buy like all those fancy sad lamps.
That's what I was going to say.
And surround myself with
the mood lighting, the mood lamp to light
something
me up.
Like that. I don't know. But so that anyway, we'll talk more about that at 5:40 and we'll get the full layout of that. And maybe we'll take some calls as well if someone disagrees and has a differing opinion than I do as to the death of daylight savings time. But that's the first thing, is that does anyone I feel like very few people actually know what's going to happen when this happens. They're just like, yeah, we hate it. Get rid of it. And then they don't actually understand like the mechanics behind it and what that actually means.
True, which I guess would be me writing the lineup today, because what I wrote is actually ass backwards from what would be happening. They would be making daylight savings time permanent, and I believe I said the death of daylight savings time is coming.
Which is technically it's true in the sense that like we're not flip-flopping.
Yeah.
Which is when everyone says daylight savings time, they associate it with a time change. So that aspect is dying. but the rest of it is staying, and that makes it worse. All right, before we get to, we've spent our entire first segment already.
Yeah, we on nothing.
Yeah. Now, before we get to break, it's a show about nothing, Mark. That's what we do.
Just life.
Can we hear from Wilson Contreras? Because I've seen a lot of headlines from him over the past 24 hours about how much he loves Boston, and I can buy that. He's having the time of his life. Best season. He's having a very Jaylen Brown moment, right? He's having the best season of his career at this point. Much like Jaylen Brown, he probably feels this is his favorite season ever. With success comes happiness.
Well, he's the star of this team at this point, right? Because he's the engine keeping the offense going.
He's never been the star of a team before.
Yeah, he was just at the home run derby where the ire of the entire city of Philadelphia was focused on him, so you get to play
the villain
again, the villain role as opposed to being the star.
And he feels like the type of guy that really relishes that. Like he's an emotional dude.
Yeah,
I remember seeing him hit a home run, and then like he was crying in the dugout, and I don't know why.
It was after the Venezuelan earthquakes when he's spending all day long like sending calls and messages and emails back home, trying to figure out not only about the safety of his own family, but other people that he knows, and then that bleeds into the emotion of having to go out there
and then he hit that
put
home
it all
run
to the side when he stepped between the lines. So he's a super emotional guy. He's a guy that when you talk about characters on the Red Sox, he is one. It's just we spent how long saying this team was void of characters because that doesn't shine through when you're 14 games under 500. It shines through when you're on a 9-game win streak.
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me a little bit of Adrian Beltre, like, in that he like feels like he's pretty rational, and then he like all of a sudden lashes out because someone touched his head or something.
Yeah, he can definitely hold a chip on his shoulder, whether it's relevant or not.
Listen, Adrian Beltre was a great Red Sox, so no complaints there. But let's hear from him talking about basically saying, don't trade me, I love it here, I'm not going anywhere. He's got a no trade clause, so pretty much forcing the Red Sox hand. He clarified that.
How about that guy? I don't know who was the other voice other than Rob Bradford that came in there at the end, but you like your teammates, every one of them? Because that's the other part of this that you've heard over the last 24 hours. It came out yesterday afternoon. Chris Cotillo was at the All-Star game. He was the one in the room kind of talking to these guys and said basically that Wilson Contreras said he wants to end his career as a Red Sox. He doesn't want to go anywhere. That was Wilson kind of clarifying those comments that he hasn't said that directly to the Red Sox because they haven't asked it
to everyone else.
He's just saying it to everyone else. He's trying to get ahead of it and get the messaging out there. But the other side of it is that some comments we also have, we played them yesterday on the show, but I cut out kind of the 30-second meat of it that everyone was aggregating and spreading around. Was it a shot at Roman Anthony, at Marcelo Meyer, when he's talking about the Sieglers of the world and these other AAA guys that are coming up and willing to leave it all out there, do anything? Listen to these comments, and these are the ones that Boston media would have you believe were a shot at some of his teammates. Remember, earlier this year, he and Meyer had a little back and forth when both their comments were taken out of context in the locker room. Like, one wasn't asked about the other's comments. They were just two sets of comments that appeared to play off one another, where Wilson was saying some of the younger guys don't grind as hard. They kind of retreat when they're slumping. They don't know what it takes to be a major leaguer. Marcelo Meyer responded with, that's kind of unfair to us younger guys because everybody on this team is slumping right now. We're all in the same boat of struggling. So this isn't the first time that at least the Boston media has tried to pit one against the other.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm buying it this time. I mean,
that sounded like a pretty natural comment, didn't it?
Yeah, he was just saying, listen, these guys are coming up from AAA. They're putting the work in. They're playing hard, and that's what we need of them right now. Like, he didn't...
That's how I heard it, too.
You have to really read between some lines that don't exist in my mind in order to make that anything other than that.
It's a July 14th through the 16th topic is what it is. When you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, you're trying to put two things together, because that, to me, sounds like a guy talking about a 9-game win streak. It's starting to work right now. We're starting to have chemistry. Guys are coming up and contributing, and yes, everybody falls in line when all you're doing is winning.
Yeah, I don't see that any other way, so I think we've probably spent enough time on it already. Brought to you by Greenway Equipment, your locally owned John Deere dealer. See the Smith Brothers in Bangor and Ellsworth, because nothing runs like a Deere. Also brought to you by your local family-owned McDonald's on Main Street, Union Street in Bangor, and Wilson Street in Brewer. The new crispy chicken strips are fast approaching. I don't know, they might already be here, but I've seen some ads in things because they've new and improved. They look pretty good. Excited to
try them out.
Excited to try them out. I know when we were talking at the Ticket Awards, there was some rave reviews of what they looked like, what they tasted like. So the new McChicken, or the chicken strips. What do they?
These are your
McChicken
words.
strips. Yeah.
You started this sentence. I don't know where it's going.
Whatever. I mean, it's chicken. It's a strip. It's a chicken strip.
You know what I'm saying.
If you don't know, you know. But those, if they're not already in McDonald's, they'll be there soon. And so go check them out, because I have heard that is a massive improvement in terms of, because y'all want the crispy, right?
Yeah.
If you get a chicken strip and it's kind of like flaccid, for lack of a better word, you don't want that. You don't want anything chewy. You want it crispy. You want it juicy. And from what I've heard, they've really nailed this one. So go check it out again at your local McDonald's on Main Street, Union Street in Bangor, and Wilson Street in Brewer. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Patriots and Drake Maye's ranking from ESPN next. Welcome back to The Drive, brought to you by Premium Choice Broadband. Local, family-owned, bringing affordable high-speed internet to Maine for over a decade. Call or email and mention PCB the Ticket to get 1 month free for new residential customers. Visit PremiumChoiceBroadband.com for details. Also brought to you by Heroes Sports Grill and Entertainment Center. Heroes is the place to be in downtown Bangor, and a HeroesSportsGrill.com. Bert Breer right there talking about Drake Maye being ranked with all the other quarterbacks, according to ESPN. Bert Breer saying he has him at 6. ESPN saying they have him at 8th. Now the question is, where do we have them? So he listed the top 4.
Yeah, the top 10, according to ESPN, Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Burrow, Jackson, Dak, Herbert, May, Goff, Williams. I don't really care about his ranking right now. It's that Albert Breer says in 2-3 years, look around, he could be number 1.
He could be. But I think
it's a big jump to ask. I mean, you would almost have to make another sizable leap from what we saw last year and build upon that. Not saying that he would have to go from rookie year Drake to finishing second in the MVP vote like he did last year, but everybody else on this list, now a couple of the names I do not agree with whatsoever, like Dak Prescott at 6.
He's got the numbers.
That's all he has, though, because he's always losing games, so he always has to throw for 225 yards in the second half to try to bring the Cowboys back. Like, he's just a stat compiler. Justin Herbert is not even really a stat compiler. He's like a pretty boy. He looks the part, but he doesn't do anything when it actually matters. He doesn't win games. He can put up big numbers, but really hasn't in the last 2 years. He is just the epitome of, like, I don't even know where he's from. He just looks kind of like the Sunshine California QB type. I know, obviously, he went to Oregon, but I mean, like, as far as where Justin Herbert grew up, like, he to me is the 2026 hype machine QB blueprint. Like, he's the poster boy for it. Because what has he actually accomplished?
Well, I mean, he's led his team to the playoffs.
And lost every time.
He has. That is a problem for him.
Not only lost, but performed poorly, badly. Like, he could be part of the reason why his team is losing.
Yeah, I think he has done it in a way, though, that impresses people because he's had so many various injuries and he's persevered through them and he's played through them. He's shown some toughness there.
Ability is the best dependability. Backwards.
I was going to say.
Dependability is the best
there you go.
ability.
Yeah. I would also put him above May. I agree with you. Prescott, no. Prescott goes beneath May.
You'd still put Herbert up there?
I would, but I think this year we might see that flip. And the reason I would do that is because I think this year Drake Maye is playing a schedule similar to what Justin Herbert saw last year. And so if Drake Maye can do what Drake Maye did last year, how many times can I say that in a sentence? Drake Maye. And he still does it again this year with a much tougher schedule. All right, I'm paying attention, and I think he goes above Herbert.
You can say it twice as many times if you refer to him by his actual name.
I'm not doing that. I'm still not doing it. In fact, someone erased it from the board.
I did that,
yeah, I'm grateful for that. All right, so I put him above Prescott. Now, I don't think he certainly doesn't crack the top 5.
No. All the names in the top 5 deserve to be there. Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Burrow, Jackson.
So I guess other than Prescott, there's really not a whole lot of movement for him to make for me, so I would put him at 7. You would put him at 6?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not his current ranking that I'm most focused on here. It's what can he become? How high can he climb on this list?
I think this is the big year for him because he's going to get a big contract at the end of it, potentially.
He's got real weapons. He's got A.J. Brown on the outside.
Right, he's finally got the receiver that everyone's died for, and he's going to be facing a tough schedule. Like last year, at the end of the season, it was tough to really grade the Patriots because of everything that happened with the schedule and the way things stacked up. And we talked about during the break about the yellow brick road that the U.S. had in the World Cup and the yellow brick road Argentina had in the World Cup. The Patriots will not be having a yellow brick road this year.
No, tougher schedule. Like I fully expect them to. They're going to be a better team, but on the surface look worse just because the schedule is tougher.
That's my hope and belief as well. I think if Drake Maye can put up the numbers that he put up last year, that is not regression, that's progression, and that's a pretty significant one to me. And so that's what I'm looking at is I don't need him to make another leap forward in terms of his stats. If he can simply maintain, I think that's enough to prove to me that he goes higher on the list. I think that's going to be a challenge, though. It's a tough schedule. There's going to be a lot of guys out there, and we don't know. The A.J. Brown thing, it's they had to do it because it just makes all the sense in the world to do it. But part of me wonders what he truly, like, is he really going to be that big of a difference from Stephon Diggs last year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he will.
I hope you're right.
Just schematically, they're two different players. Stephon Diggs, even last year, like, he showed up when the Patriots needed him to, thinking of different times during the season. That game at Baltimore.
Yeah,
the Bills game. He had some big-time plays, big-time catches, and performances when you needed it most. But schematically, A.J. Brown is so different where the defense has to swing to him because he's only doing one thing. He's either straight lining it, he's going 20 yards, and then he's curling back over his shoulder, or he's going on a slant and then trying to take it to the house. So for that reason, like the defense has to kind of skew in his direction. That allows Romeo Doubs to operate in a little more space. It allows Travion Henderson. I think he's the guy that I really look at this year to be like their true magical piece because we saw the potential that he could have last year in November when he was popping off with those 200-yard rushing games. I see him as a guy this year that could end up with like 50, 60 receptions and be as dangerous in that part of the game as he is on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, there is no excuse as it relates to weapons at this point. Like, he has all the weapons he could ever want.
And he made everyone better last year, so there's no reason to think that, like, well, are we building in excuses here for Drake Maye? He's got the weapons now, but if he falls flat on his face, like, I've got full faith in Drake Maye based on the gains that I saw last year and just the commitment that you hear about that he didn't. I mean, we saw him around a little bit at various golf tournaments and him and his wife taking some trips, but like he was in the building for most of this offseason really trying to master this offense because that's another thing. Going back to his college days, he's had to change out the offense year over year over year. He made that leap last year while learning the new offense, while understanding what it is that Josh McDaniels wants to do. He now has that, not mastered, but, fully computed.
Now, it sounds like you're thinking he might even have a better season than last year.
Little bit, but part of that, I think, like when I say they're going to be worse but also better, the record's going to take a step back.
Oh,
like
for sure it
10
is.
10-7 or 11-6 is kind of where I pinpoint it. You're going to feel better about the Patriots, though, when they're going up against the premier competition. Like if they're taking on the top team of the AFC or the top, couple of teams in the NFC. Last year, you kind of looked at that, the very, very few games that they were on the schedule and said, okay, there's one of the losses because you just take care of everything behind them. I think now you should feel confident going into those games that the Patriots can beat anybody. They're just going to take quite a few L's because they're on the schedule. It's tough out there.
It's football, yeah.
The other side of it is defensively, I don't expect them to be as good as they were last year. Like they were top 10. They were, as far as yardage, kind of middle of the pack, but points allowed. Remember, they were on that crazy streak, again, because of the schedule of only team over like 8 or 9 consecutive weeks, whatever the number was, of scoring 24 or more, allowing 23 or less. Just because of the other quarterbacks and offenses that they are playing, they're going to give up more points. So Drake Maye is going to be relied on more to score more points to overcome that offensively. So I think that's going to lead a little more into why his numbers might look bigger.
Yeah, I could see that. I think a lot of the numbers are going to be, as you just said, there's going to be some regression to the mean. And that comes with some losses. But I do overall, again, I think that they, especially May, have the potential to come close to what they did last year, numbers-wise, and it just may look like 11 wins instead of, 15, which is crazy. But I don't suspect that he's going to have like a significantly better season. I think if he can just maintain that number that he did last year, like all the things he did last year, that's plenty. I I think I'm higher on Romeo Doubs than most as well. And he's always had the look. He's always had the feel of a guy that could have a big breakout season, and he's never done it because the Packers.
Well, he's never had someone better than him in the room to take the coverage away from him.
It feels like the Packers they're just known for they just produce okay to good receivers.
They're going to have 7 or 8 solid guys every year.
Right. And so they don't get to differentiate themselves, but I believe that Romeo Doubs is going to have a career year, and I think that's going to be really good for the Patriots because obviously he's younger than A.J. Brown, and he's a guy that I think could be good for a long time in a Patriot uniform. So I'm maybe to my own detriment, but I'm pretty high on him. Perhaps even higher than A.J. Brown.
10 days away from the start of camp.
Woo.
Next Saturday.
Hey, it's coming faster than you could believe it. If you're stuck on the side of the road, Union Street Towing has you covered 24/7 statewide from breakdowns to lockouts. They'll get you moving fast. Call 942-4200 Union Street Towing. Driven to be there when you need them the most. We're also brought to you by Bangor Mall Cinema, Greater Bangor's favorite hometown theater for over 40 years. Bangor Mall Cinema features luxury recliners and upgraded food menu. Find show times and reserve your seat at yourneighborhoodtheater.com. We've got the World Cup on here in the studio, and England is up 1-0 over Argentina. For those of you that are wondering and or caring about such things, at the 73-minute mark, they just had their very fancy hydration break. Argentina has been threatening pretty hard, but they have not broke through yet.
Yeah, they're throwing everything they have behind it for these final 20 minutes to try to get an equalizer. England, the soccer world outside of obviously the British Isles, but it's just that one country because Scotland's rooting against them, Wales is rooting against them, the entire soccer world, football around the rest of the globe, rooting hard against England in this game because they've only won the World Cup once in 1966. Every year they scream that it's coming home. They've been the most obnoxious fans, even though they haven't won it over the last 60 years. So they'd be taking it to a new level if they do, in fact, bring it home.
But they are the better team in this game.
Oh, they should be, yeah.
Although Argentina, like I said, they've had most of this game that I've seen so far in their offensive zone. So,
reigning champs, and they got the best player in the world. So,
yeah,
they have capability.
We'll keep you updated on what happens there. Probably not much. That's soccer for you.
Yeah, Beyond the Sports Center coming up right now. Game will be over next time we update it.
All right, the Sports Center and a weather forecast coming up now. Man, so close. Fingertips on that one.
The man who likes soccer the least in here is enthralled by the semifinal.
In this last 10 minutes, Argentina is just peppering them with...
There it is.
Hey, there it is. It's been astounding how many times they've gotten close.
That was like a 23-yard bullet from outside the box. That is a goal that you dream of as a child, somewhere in a backyard with 5 minutes and your World Cup lives remaining on the line. And this dude from Argentina just steps up with his right foot and smacked it.
About 30 seconds before that, they had one that was curving into the goal, and the goaltender got the tips of his fingers on it, just enough to direct it over it, which led to the corner kick, which eventually led to...
Jordan Pickford's tough to beat. Good goalie for England.
Yeah, so that's how it goes down. So 1-1, tied.
Probably some extra soccer coming up here.
Yeah. We are brought to you by Madden Generator Services with expert installation, dependable maintenance, and a free 7-year warranty on new generic installs. They'll keep your home in the game. Call 951-4668. Madden Generator Services. Power you can count on. And by Fat Panda Boba Tea and Market on Harlow Street in Bangor next to Goslin's Bakery. Fresh boba, snacks, ramen, their tasty Jamaican patties, and visit their brewer location, Wilson Street, next to Hannaford. If soccer were played like this all the time, I would watch so much more of it. The problem is it's 90% of guys just jogging up and down a field and only 10% of what we've witnessed in the last 20 minutes, which is just Argentina dominating and just taking shot after shot.
You also can't draw this game. You can't tie it. So they're actually throwing everything they have behind it. It's a true do-or-die sense.
So what you're saying is I would enjoy soccer more if they just got rid of ties.
Probably, yeah. When you force someone to try to win at the end of the game.
I like that. Okay. Argentinian fans, as you might understand, going absolutely nuts.
Enzo Fernandez. Does that say 8 goals?
It did say 8 goals. I didn't see the time frame of reference there.
No, it's for this tournament. Oh, so he is up there with the leaders as well.
Yeah, he also had the winning goal against Egypt in the round of 16.
Someone's trying to get in here.
I was going to say, I hear a phone ringing. Should one of us go check?
It's not a phone. It's the
security system. Yeah.
It's the camera out there.
Someone is trying to breach the building.
No, we got to stay safe.
Joe Mazzulla is not breaching the building, I don't believe, but you just heard from him right there. Mark, what is Joe Mazzulla up to these days?
Well, if you're in a building that could be breached, you want Joe Mazzulla in the building. Or if you're trying to breach a building, you want Joe Mazzulla on your breach team because dude is a psychopath. But actually, when you boil it down and you understand the psychology of what he's doing right there, in the short clip we heard of him talking with Ariel Helwani, UFC fighting reporter, fight sports reporter is what I was trying to say there.
There you go.
And Joe is talking about how over the course of a basketball season, he can go through the stress that the players, he can understand that because he goes through it as well. He can get tired out with them, but not physically. Like mentally, he can be on the same page with those guys, but physically, he doesn't understand it because he's not out there running 7 miles a night and grinding his body down. So what he does is whatever mixed martial art he's picked up, jiu-jitsu, or I don't know what it is, the exact discipline that he trains in, but he goes at it like hardcore, like someone who's actually getting ready for a tournament or for fights, and says that he's doing so to be able to better understand where his players are coming from over the course of the season when they are beaten down both physically and mentally. That, to me, is the first time, at least that I've seen, that Joe has kind of peeled back the crazy curtain and said there's a method to the madness.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously a very good head coach. Despite their failures the last 2 years in the playoffs, you can't deny that he has been successful. He's the one that got them over the hump ultimately and won the title. He sometimes is a bit unorthodox, and I think sometimes sticks to his beliefs a little too much, which is pretty typical of a guy like him that's very
headstrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. I was going to say like a stubborn what. But I bet the players appreciate what he does in doing that. I'm sure that they do because that's a big part of it.
He showed up in Spain earlier this year to watch Hugo Gonzalez play. He showed up to Portugal when Nimi Keita was just practicing in a gym. Like, he just came and watched him do a practice session. And both those guys said, like, I wouldn't imagine any other coach going out of their way to even come to a game, let alone just fly across the pond to see me practice or something.
Yeah. I would say despite the hard times that they've fallen on the last 2 years in the playoffs, Joe Mazzulla is still one of the better coaches in the NBA. He does need to learn to adapt in-game a little faster, and that is something that I think he's working on, I hope.
Yeah, he's got to be able to adapt on the fly better because that's been the thing that's killed him so far, right? Year one, he doesn't use any timeouts and he refuses to adapt on the fly. And then you start to see that obviously lessen over the course of time as he's growing into the job. But last couple of years, maybe a little too stuck in his ways. He wanted to narrow the bench this year. He wanted to keep jacking up threes, even though you saw a different style of basketball work in the second half. But we also can't lose sight. We can't forget of what both you and I and the other two hosts on the show were saying about Joe Mazzulla from the middle of October through the end of April.
Masterful.
One of the best coaches in the game, has graduated beyond almost the point of being doubted, or at least having that benefit of the doubt. Then they blow a 3-1 lead, and we're right back to doubting him.
Well, it's not doubting him per se. I think he had a roster that was built with one specific thing in mind, and the NBA has gone away from that specific thing to the extent that the Celtics want to pursue it, which is the three-point shot. They are built or were built almost entirely around jacking up threes, and the NBA has started to transition from that, and the Celtics were a little late in their roster migration away from it, and they're hoping to right that ship this next season with guys like Mitchell Robinson and a little bit more of a post presence. But he could have made efforts to try to adapt to it in the playoffs, but we don't know what was happening in practices. It could be that they tried in practices and said, well, this sucks. We don't have the horses for this. I think that's probably likely what happened, is they didn't have the horses to try to do anything other than what they knew, and it failed them in the wrong moment. But either way, Joe Mazzulla right there.
Argentina just stole it in added time.
Wow.
Now, there are 9 minutes of added time here, so this is only in the 92nd minute.
England has not been playing soccer for like the last half hour, though. They've been
defending.
Yeah, so I'm not sure they're capable of flipping that switch.
They're going to have about 8-9 minutes with the added time coming from this goal celebration in added time. Hopefully you're following that added inception there.
That's a lot of added, yeah. By the way, a message from Bert in Greenville. He says goalkeeper, not goaltender. One of us called it I don't know if it was me or you.
I don't know. Might have been me when I was talking about Jordan Pickford.
I would never make such mistakes about soccer. Never in my wildest dreams. So what happened here? Oh, so there was a rebound.
Messi delivered in the cross.
Ah, look at that. Wow. All right, so Argentina up 2-1. We've got a thrilling matchup here. Oh, yeah. Wow, what a pass. Heck of a pass right there. Wide open net.
It's a cross.
Okay. He passed it across.
If we're making sure to use soccer terminology, it's a cross.
They don't say pass?
That in of itself is a cross.
Okay. Well, he crossed.
There are passes, but that there was a cross.
Okay. He crossed it and then got the ball behind the goalkeeper and a defender from England. And then it went off the head, the noggin, if you will, of a Argentinian player.
Cranium.
Into the goal to give them a 2-1 lead. And there are lots of crying fans in the stands. And England is saying, how? Literally, I'm reading his lips and he's saying, how does that happen?
Nope. Here come the England fans starting to freak out.
Yeah. So we will keep you updated on this and who was at our door, because I heard it ringing again like shortly ago. So I got to go check that out. All right, we'll take a break. Brought to you by Casella. Good pay, good people, good life. Find your place at powerofhardwork.com, and by Dairy Queen of Old Town. The DQ $7 chicken strip meal deal has it all. 100% white meat, seasoned chicken strips, full-size fries, a drink, and a DQ sundae. Just $7. Visit 613 Stillwater Avenue in Old Town. The Drive at 5 up next.